My name's Cal Evans. I've been attending here for most of my life. I became a Christian. I'm not going to say the year because if you heard the story before, you'll know how old my old daughter is, and that's not a good idea to tell a person's age. But anyway, it's been a long time. And our second child was born, which is, I don't know if you guys know, but Bryce Evans is my son. And I'd been a Christian for like 3 years and struggling, doing the roller coaster ride of early Christian life where you're facing temptations and everything and struggles and everything. And anyway, when Bryce was born, he had some medical issues that were very serious. I believe back then they called it hilum membrane disease. And I don't know if you remember the Kennedy family, President Kennedy's family had a baby who died of hilum membrane disease. And the doctor was honest with me, and told me there's a 50-50 chance that Bryce would not live more than a couple days. That was a jolt to not just me emotionally, but to my faith. Because I was thinking, God, how could you give us this child and then just take it away like this? I remember visiting him in the ICU, and we could put our hands in, and I could touch his fingers and feel his toes, and all these tubes and everything all over, and how crushing it was to me. About the second or third day, I decided I'd go to work, and then when I came home, I couldn't hardly concentrate. I came back to visit Deb, who was still in the hospital, and I remember looking in that window at that little baby in the incubator, and I just broke down. I couldn't handle it anymore. I told God, take me, don't take this baby. I'll trade places with him, but please don't take this baby. I'll do anything you want me to do. I know I haven't lived up to my promise to you, and I ask that you would please bring Bryce around to where I could have my son back. And it's about that time I turned around, and two people who are very, very big in my life, my mother and father-in-law, Bob and Betty Mayfield, came around the corner. And I just broke down in Betty's arms. And I think she was worried. She thought that maybe Bryce was gone, because it was that serious. And finally, I got myself together and managed to explain the situation and what was going on. Anyway, back in that time, when they're in the ICU, they do this thing called the gases test, where they take blood and measure the amount of gas, that's oxygen levels in the bloodstream and everything. And they had Bryce turned up so high it was almost to the maximum they could get him turned up to just survive. And we went and visited Deb in her room. I wasn't in there 5 minutes. When the nurse came rushing in, she said they had to turn down. They had to turn down Bryce's oxygen levels because he was, and suddenly, just snapped a finger, had started retaining oxygen that he was bringing in. It was getting to his whole body. Right then I knew it was a miracle. At that time I prayed, he answered my prayer right then and there. And that day, my life has never been the same since then. I've known through these miracles in my life that I've seen, and I've seen more since then. Every once in a while, God still had to slap me in the back of the head and give me something to get me back online. But I knew that was God that did that. There was no other way that it could have happened, that it would happen that fast, because it was instantaneous that God healed Bryce. And I just want to thank him every day for all that he does for me and all that he's doing for me. That's all I have.